Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaelyn. I'm a master's student at the University of Oxford studying history, and in the fall I'm going to begin my PhD in history and African American studies at Yale University. I make academic related lifestyle content all about grad school, how to access academia from undergrad to grad school. I make vlogs and informational videos. So if that's something that you guys are interested in and you guys are not yet subscribed, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button because there's a lot of fun videos coming your way. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking all about annotating and annotation software. As a graduate student, taking notes, highlighting PDFs, being able to annotate books and articles is incredibly essential to my work, my workflow, and my research. There are a couple different ways that I do this. So I'm going to be highlighting three today. So first I'm going to be highlighting how I annotate in books, and then I will be showing you how I annotate on the computer using a software called PDFelement. And that section of the video is actually sponsored by Wondershare. So thank you to Wondershare for sponsoring that section of the video. I will be talking about them more in depth during the video and showing you guys a tutorial of how to use the software on your own. And then I'm going to be showing you how I use Goodnotes to annotate PDFs and articles on the iPad. So there's a couple different ways that I take my notes, and having different mediums by which you capture your annotations is important, especially given that you sometimes need to be able to bring your notes to class. You need to be able to pull them up quickly on your computer or on your iPad. And then when it comes to books, sometimes it's easier to actually have your notes in a hard copy. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and keep this intro nice and short so we can get right into the video. If you guys have any questions along the way, then please leave a comment down below. I'm going to have all the links for you down in the description box, and let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and today I'm going to be looking at Edmund Morgan's American Slavery, American Freedom. This is one of the central monographs to my research, so I'm going to go ahead and begin by pulling out my highlighter and pen and begin making notes in the margins. These are basically just ways for me to indicate what may be important for me to look back upon, and then I will highlight certain quotes which may be essential to writing papers later on and things that I want to highlight and look back upon. And then I will also leave myself a little note in the margin. Definitely helps that I have small handwriting. But I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit more in depth how I actually make my annotations in the PDF software for articles, because with books it's primarily just pulling quotes and making little notes for myself. I will make notes about the main arguments and the footnotes, but a lot of the main resources for my dissertation at the moment actually come from articles. So now I'm going to show you guys how I use PDFelement. All right, so now that I've shown you how I annotate my books, we've now reached the sponsored section of today's video. This section of the video is going to be sponsored by Wondershare and PDFelement. I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the software on your computer in order to help you annotate PDFs and use all of their tools in order to mark up your documents. I'm going to show you some of the other tools that they have as well. You can add images, you can link other documents and websites. You can also redact certain information from PDF, so it's really good if you're kind of doing legal work or if you want to use this for contracts. If you guys want to know more about PDFelement and how to use it outside of academia, I'm going to leave the links down below, as well as their tutorials. They have a lot of information on their website and on YouTube all about how to use their software. So I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of how I use it, but I suggest kind of doing some of your own research and checking it out for yourself because it is a super useful software, and I get questions all the time how you can actually mark up your PDFs and annotate on the computer. Some of the software that's already installed on Macs, for example, such as Preview, are not as easy to use and are not as intuitive, and there's also not as many tools within the application to help you to cite information that is going to be important for you and your work. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to show you guys a screen grab and take you along for how I personally annotate PDF articles on PDFelement. All right, so now that I've shown you guys how I annotate in my books, I'm going to go ahead and take you guys on a tour of how I use PDFelement on my computer to annotate my PDFs. So we're gonna go ahead and open up Wondershare PDFelement, and here you can see a bunch of different articles that I have. And so I'm gonna go ahead and open up this one from Jennifer Morgan. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different tools up here. So all your marking up tools. So there's the highlight, strikeout, underline, pencil, eraser, etc. You can also make text comments, text box, and there's also a way that you can leave a sticky note. So the sticky note tool is especially important if I want to highlight certain sources. So I'll write down kind of a source list. So I'll kind of keep that up there. So we're gonna go ahead and highlight is probably the most important tool that I use when I annotate my PDFs. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so regardless of the rate of reproduction among the enslaved, which remained low in the early American slave societies, the ideological solidity of those slave societies needed reproducing women. And what's nice about this is that it actually puts the highlight behind the text, which makes it easier to see. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go to text, and I'm gonna leave myself a little comment here, and we're gonna go ahead and just change the font. I am much more fond of using Times. It's just the inner academic in me. And then we're gonna have it slightly smaller, and I also want to change the color. I just want it to be black. So now we're gonna go down. So what's nice about this article in particular is that Morgan specifically calls out her argument, her central argument. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the color here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this central point and make a note here and state main argument. And I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm going to, again, change to Times New Roman, change the color, and I'll keep it a little larger than the other text just because it's important. I see this quote here, which I want to highlight. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the highlight tool. We're gonna go back to using this green color. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave myself a little note about what I think is important. So I'm going to leave the note over here. I'm going to make the text a little smaller, and I'm just going to say, instead of legal history, Morgan focuses on how enslaved women understood the importance of their reproductive capacities. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this really quick. And what's nice about PDFelement is that I can, again, you can leave like a little sticky note here, or you can also include images if you would like. So if I wanted to add an image here, all I'd have to do is go up here and add an image. I don't need to add an image for this particular document, but I just wanted to give you guys that option. You can also link other PDFs, or you can link websites. So that's super helpful. The tool that I end up using the most though is this markup tool. So that is how I use PDFelement. Just a quick little walkthrough. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the iPad. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up Goodnotes. And the first article we're going to look at is this one right here. Custom and Law, the Status of Enslaved Africans in 17th Century Barbados by Jeremy S. Handler. Luckily, this guy included an abstract in his article. Abstracts aren't entirely common in my field, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. So when I'm reading along, I'm looking for the main argument, especially in an abstract. So in this one in particular, he specifically states, by tracing the development of slavery from the colony settlement in 1627, this article argues that the legitimization or legalization of African slavery and the status of slaves were established in custom long before any slave laws were passed. So I'm going to go ahead on the side here and say main argument. What I like about Goodnotes in particular is that it puts the highlight behind the lettering. This is something that Notability and some of the other applications for iPads does not do. I could have made the highlight a little smaller. You have the option to do that, in which case it would have been a little thinner. So you can see the different thicknesses here. And I have all these drop down colors that I can use, and then you can also make custom colors. Then I'm gonna go down into the body. So here specifically talking about Henry Winthrop. So that's often going to be connected to a footnote, as you can see here. So I'm gonna read through this and see if it's anything that I need to know. So this is something that I do wanna mention. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the date, the name, and then the quote that I wanna highlight. And then I'm just gonna leave myself a note that says Henry Winthrop, mention of slaves in Barbados. And that basically just gives me something to look at when I'm going through my notes. So that way I can look in here and say, okay, so I highlighted a quote for myself. And then if I wanted to use that quote, I would also circle the footnote and then say check footnote, just as I've done in my books and my articles on the computer. So it's the same kind of method, but this way I have a bunch of different articles that I've annotated in the past. And as you can see, I have my notes, and here I've said central questions. So this is what the article is addressing. And then up here, central concept or general argument. And then here's the same article that we looked at on the computer, and it has some of my annotations that I did on Goodnotes. So you can use it a variety of ways. You can color code. I color code sometimes, but ultimately I kind of just highlight things and then leave myself little notes. So I hope that that was helpful. And that's pretty much how I use Goodnotes. And we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, so I hope that you found those tips helpful and that you're going to be able to use it in your academic work or just when you're reading in general. Being an analytic reader and being able to capture notes and think through your reading is incredibly important just to retention and being able to use that information later on. And by showing you these different mediums, I hope that you got a sense of ways that you can incorporate this in your work as well by either using it in books, using annotation software like PDFelement on your computer, or using applications like Goodnotes on your iPad. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can use these tips. You can use it at your desk or you can use it on the go. So I hope that it was helpful. If you guys enjoyed this one, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks everyone.